Good morning! Welcome again to another digital series by Red Panda TV. I'm your host, Mike Yu. Today we'll be talking about a couple of new things. Something more in the line of physical sports, especially MMA, mixed martial arts, or self-defense. Today we have a very special guest. He'll be discussing with us what might be, I don't want to say the new norm because we've just discussed about it a while ago and I don't want to use new norm as the new norm.
Uh,
But we'll be discussing something what will happen, or might improve. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you our special guest for today, Coach Franco. Hi, good morning, Coach.
what's up, everybody? Good morning to everyone who's tuned in right now.
Morning. So, how's the pandemic treating you?
Everyone's inside, so I'm spending a lot of time at home and I want to be as productive as possible. So my day is mostly just consuming. I'm trying to acquire new skill sets, improving on what I already have, and I've been involved in several donation drives already.
Mm-hmm.
So, like whatever my friends need or whatever organizations that I'm involved in, whatever they need in terms of, like, for example, me and Discover MNL did a PPE drive. It was such a huge success. And then there are other several donation drives by a few friends that I participated in. I mean, everything is just about reaching out to those who need it and making sure that everyone is coping and dealing with the situation in the safest way possible. And a part of that, I still do like I mean, a lot of people shifted doing their classes online, so we did that as well.
Yeah.
So we just me and my teammates meet at a particular time, and then we still do our best to maintain and train and exercise. I mean, during these times, um, the more that you should be active, the more that you should be moving, the more that I mean, technically you don't have an excuse not to exercise anymore.
That's correct.
Diba?
That's
Kasi
correct.
at the end of the day, ano pa ba gagawin mo?
Oh.
So, I mean, now it's just a matter of finding the right source of information and uh, yeah, guidance, tapos the proper way of doing things. So at least with each, I mean, GCQ. I mean, if we're gonna be shifted to GCQ, ano yan eh, at least I know that when this is all over, I just didn't bum out. I was still productive. I did my part, and I still helped a lot of people.
I see. By the way, for those people who do not know you, can you give us a little brief background on how you get started in this industry?
Okay. It's like, ito yun that's the simplest question but the hardest question for me to answer all the time. Sige, medyo I'm practicing this templated answer pero I'm a multi-sport I'm a multi-sport, multi-discipline martial artist.
Mm-hmm.
So I delved into a lot of sports because I'm a very active person, and then I studied a lot of martial arts and combat systems. I think that's where my life was directed. I still play the sports that I used to when I was growing up. And then now the focus mainly is on providing the right kind of information to people who need it. Um, it has become one of my advocacies already that every individual that I come across, or at least whoever uh, gets the information that I send out, is provided the right kind of information. I mean, I hope that makes sense. Na
Yes, it does.
there are a lot, 'di ba? Ang dami kasing there are so many things. There are so many things being promoted. There are a lot of there's a lot of stuff that people are being fed,
Mm-hmm.
pero you have to give them a dose of reality. You have to show them what works. You have to show them what doesn't work. Then you have to train them the right way.
Correct.
More than the concepts and the principles is the methodology.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been blessed to be surrounded by amazing teachers, amazing instructors, and that led me to a life of coaching. And that made me a better coach.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that I work on constantly every day. So I do a lot of jiu-jitsu classes, and I do self-defense seminars, self-protection seminars. Basically, the composition of those, I mean, dun pa lang eh. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the bulk of information that is structured or that is within that structure
Mm-hmm.
covers a lot of topics already. And then you have your fitness component, then you have your, what do you call this? Ano pa ba yung marami siyang ano eh, like the different facets that is connected to those things.
I
So
see.
yeah, that's where my life revolves around. So when that is pre-COVID and then COVID happened,
Mm-hmm.
the information is still there. It's
Yeah,
still being transmitted, pero everything shifted online lang.
I see. You mentioned a while ago you and your some of your coaches are teaching people while during the pandemic. How do you guys do
Yep.
that? Is there any competition that we're looking at after the pandemic or
Um, okay, now, when COVID happened, everybody shifted online. Di ba?
hmm,
Everybody shifted online. The good and the bad. The good is suddenly you people have access to you. They
yes.
have access to information. They can access resource people that more or less they don't have the time for previously. Kasi siguro it's traffic. They can't attend class. Now, at the convenience of your home, you can actually do it.
Hmm.
And ako, me and my teammates, I belong to DefTech Philippines, and DefTech Philippines is a very big team. uh, there are several gyms or chapters. They're subdivided into chapters, and these chapter heads or the heads of these small groups, yeah, they took it upon themselves to like, okay, so since we can't train in the gym, let's all train at home. So let's all go virtual muna. Everyone's on Skype, everyone's on Zoom or whatever social media or internet platform that they're using.
Hmm.
And I mean, it's a very healthy way. It's a very good way to keep everyone together, keep everyone focused on their goals, making sure that no one's. I think more than anything, it's maintaining the relationship that you have with your team.
Mm-hmm.
And then, ayun, you have to keep everything going. I mean, life doesn't have to stop because something bad happened. The bad now, or parang the downside to that is, of course, nothing will ever beat personal instruction.
Correct.
Diba? Nothing will ever, no amount of technology will ever be a very good substitute for human interaction, especially in the field of fitness and martial arts, wherein you go into a room full of positive energy. You go into a place that is your refuge from the real world, kumbaga.
Hmm.
Diba? A lot of people go to the gym because they want to escape the real world, or it's their me time. It's where they sweat out the stress, or it's where they release their pent up emotions. And that is a huge factor when it comes to jiu-jitsu, especially. I mean, jiu-jitsu guys and girls are not just there for the training. Like, I can speak for my team na
Hmm.
more than the environment, more than the training, more than the workout, it's the people. It's the people, it's the environment, it's the atmosphere. Right? It makes us feel good. It makes us feel alive. It makes us go home afterwards feeling that okay, it was a good day. Okay? It might have started bad, but I'm coming home. I feel good about myself. I feel optimistic about tomorrow. So it has its pros and cons. What we're doing now is adapting to current situations.
Okay.
Pero ako, I'm a very very big believer na when this is all over, everyone will go back to normal.
Correct. Correct. I understand that.
Mm,
Speaking of
mm,
doing everything online, um,
mm.
I believe you've seen UFC 249 yesterday.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that's the first time that UFC match that there's no guests, there's no
Ano
Ticket
tawag
sales or
dito?
something.
I think I think that's like the second or the third one. Kasi they did UFC Brazil following the same setup. Walang crowd. So, if you're the person watching at home, it looks so interesting, diba? Kasi you still get to see the fight. And that fight card really delivered. I mean, it was an exciting fight card. It was very entertaining.
Mm.
A lot of good fights. However, it's so quiet, di ba? There's no, di ba? You could just imagine if there's a crowd, di ba? If there's a crowd, how electrifying that moment could have been. You know, if you're a fight fan and you see an empty arena, it
Mm.
kind of, di ba? It becomes a factor. Eh.
Mm.
Di ba? Malaking factor yung sigaw ng crowd, yung ingay, the flashing lights, people holding up their cameras. It's ano eh, it adds value to what you're watching.
Mm.
Now, pero syempre they have to. I mean, if you look at the flow of how things happened,
Mm.
the UFC really had to pull so many strings. They had to They had to put up so many setups. Ito lang yan eh. Each fighter had their own training rooms. Each fighter had their own saunas. Diba? They poured in a lot of money just to be able to pull this off. I
Mm.
mean, props to the UFC. In the time when everyone said, don't do it, they actually pulled off an event and it became a success. Everyone watched it. Diba? A lot of people were happy that they pulled it off. So
Correct.
I think the next ones will be ano eh. Rumor has it na they're gonna do it in an island. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, bro.
Do you think this will be the next step in mixed martial arts tournaments?
As long as there is a as long as the pandemic's happening, as
Mm.
long as there are government regulations uh, stopping crowds from going to arenas, this
Mm.
will continue. Because at the end of the day, we're all after fighter safety. We're all about keeping everyone healthy. And ano yan eh, what we're doing right now is adapting to the adapt we're adapting to what is currently happening.
Mm.
So we're doing our best to flatten the curve. We're doing our best to make sure that everyone is safe and as much as possible keep everyone healthy, get more tests. Whoever's positive, we have to isolate them and make sure and make them stronger. So the moment that it gets to a safer number, okay,
Mm.
parang when everything's safe and unti-unti rin yan.
Correct.
It's going to be a process, diba? From there, they'll probably clear people to okay, now you can go. More people can go to the groceries. Okay, now like we can open parks. Okay, now we can open the mall. Okay,
Mm.
everyone's okay. Now it's safe to go back to the office. And then they're gonna allow gyms to open, and then they're gonna allow sporting events to happen.
Mm.
Because ano lang yan eh, um, just like any kind of pandemic, if
Yeah.
you look at the course of history, we've humanity has gone through several pandemics already,
Mm.
and like what I told you earlier, humans win all the time.
Yeah.
Diba?
Correct.
We will always win. This is no different. We're currently adjusting. We're currently adapting to what is required of us,
Mm.
and then we will beat this. Tatalunin natin to. And when we do,
Mm.
we will put certain guidelines and we will proceed accordingly. Then
Mm.
everything will go back to our gyms. We'll go back to our favorite restaurants. People will go back to coffee shops.
Yes.
Diba? So it's just a matter of carrying it out properly and safely.
I see. So for those people who are, I think we do have competitors for the next Olympics, Tokyo Olympics.
Mm,
How do you
yeah.
think they're practicing right now? I know, yeah, stay home, be safe, flatten the curve. But
Mhm.
I believe some of them are still practicing up to this day.
Yeah,
What
of course.
what are they doing to keep themselves safe during this time?
Well, if you're an Olympic athlete, ano yan eh, it depends now on when is the Olympics gonna be. Okay? You have to consider na the time frame kasi uh, they have to wait for the IOC to provide the timeline of, for example, international the IOC is the International Olympic Committee. So sabihin, okay guys, we're gonna push through with the Olympics. So we'll put it at, let's say, September or October of 2021.
Okay.
So now, since you have a specific date, you're gonna structure your training leading towards that date.
Mm.
Diba? So
Mm.
now, from what I understand, a lot of the athletes now are doing maintenance work, kumbaga. They're keeping themselves busy because you have to, diba? Because you're waiting eh. You're waiting for the date. You're waiting for the authorities to tell you, okay, at this particular date, it's go time na. So now, while you're waiting,
Mm.
so you have to do your precautionary measures. So you have to do your social distancing. For sure, each athlete or each Olympic facility will definitely have their own. I mean, for individual sports, kasi ano yan eh, it's a lot easier for them. Like
Correct.
for example, you're a swimmer. Okay, you have one lane, di ba?
Oh.
Di ba? You're ano, di ba? Ang problema dyan, yung mga partner sports or yung mga combat sports, like for example, and team sports, like
Mm.
basketball, football, di ba? Wrestling, judo. I think probably one of the safer sports to practice right now is fencing, di ba?
Yeah.
Diba? If you look at fencing, diba? You're fully covered, you have gloves, you have masks, and then there's social distancing because you have to make sure that you're within striking distance of your opponent. So I don't see a problem with fencing right now. Pero in terms of speaking in general terms, every athlete is probably doing maintenance work now. So they're
Mm.
keeping themselves active, keeping themselves busy. Number one priority is to make sure that you're healthy. Because the
Mm.
moment you're COVID positive, you're going to be isolated. So that's about 2 to 3 weeks of no training.
Mm.
And that will gravely affect your performance. Because now, the priority is to make the body stronger. So if
Mm.
your body's stronger and then you heal,
Mm.
so from that state, parang ano ka, parang it sets you back. All of a sudden, you have to make your body stronger again. You have to build, di ba, the cardio. You have to build muscle again. You have to build the stamina. So
Mm.
parang nag-back to zero ka ngayon eh.
Oh.
So now, for me, in terms of coaching, number one priority is to make sure that everyone is safe,
Mm.
everyone's healthy, and
Mm.
then we'll do maintenance work. Yeah, so just keep the body active, make sure that you're doing your routines, you're strong, and then when when the governing bodies or IOC in this regard tells us na okay, Olympics is gonna be November 2021. Okay, that's where you structure your training now, so that you know when to peak, when to
Mm.
taper down, so that when you get to the venue, you're in peak condition na. And I think sporting events such as the Olympics will be a good gauge as to how do I put this? Na parang it's gonna be a good gauge as to how sports was impacted,
Mm.
how athletes were able to adjust,
Yeah.
and once they roll it off, it's gonna be a triumph for humanity, not just sports. Kasi okay, di ba? COVID happened, pero look
Mm.
at us now. We're still holding the Olympics. It's not stopping us.
Correct. Correct.
Mm.
But for those people who do not know, Coach Franco here is supporting a couple of movements. Na Coach, maybe you would
Mm.
like to share some of the movements that you're currently supporting.
Well, syempre right now sa COVID, we just wrapped up. It's a very, it's a very good project by Discover MNL. So you could just follow them on their social media pages. We just wrapped up. It's the project was called Barian Hiwan.
Mm.
I mean, the people of Discover MNL are such amazing and good people. Wala akong masabi sa kanila. That team is, I mean, it's Walter and it's Lucky. It's their initiative. Nobody told them to do it. It came from the goodness of their hearts. And when they needed help and they needed volunteers, I was like, "Oh, guys, when you need help, I'm down." So the drive was to get donations, and then partner with local industries or household industries.
Mm.
So look at how everything came full circle kasi you get monetary donations, then you partner up with the local community. So
Mm.
you just gave them a source of income, di ba? You gave them a livelihood. So from there, donated money becomes PPEs, and then we distributed it all across the Philippines. What started as a small project to help out local hospitals
Mm-hmm.
became this nationwide operations. I mean, it started small, ended big. It wouldn't have been possible if not for the team behind Discover MNL. They helped a lot of hospitals,
Yeah.
and each trip that I did was had a story of its own. I mean, these are public hospitals wherein our medical frontliners need help. As
Mm-hmm.
in, you couldn't picture the amount of joy and relief each time you deliver these things. I mean, you're giving them this beacon of hope na it's gonna help them do their jobs well. Now, pre-COVID, my advocacies have always been yan, providing the right kind of information to people and making sure that everyone has a significant level of self-defense and self-protection knowledge. And at the same time, it, it, it just kind of fell on my lap, and I don't really talk about it that much. Pero yun nga, a lot of the things that concerns mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Ayan. So we do a lot of I mean, mental health is something that is, I mean, some people openly talk about it. Some people, I mean, they keep it to themselves. They just approach you privately.
Mm-hmm.
So ano yan, when I started, that I think that's one of the benefits of having a physical class
Yeah.
wherein there is human interaction. I've I've received messages, and people have approached and talked to me about being thankful, being grateful that something like jujitsu changed their lives for the better. It helped them become positive. It helped them deal with their anxieties and their depressions.
Mm.
So I mean, when someone tells you that, na parang, well, okay, so this is another purpose, diba? You're not just providing information, you're not just providing training, you're actually helping people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd be surprised how many people are getting into jiu-jitsu to help deal with their anxieties and their depression and are actually having positive results. So, nakakatuwa siya. So, from there, ako, okay. And then I have a few, now, the friends that I have who are very outspoken or who are open about their mental health and who have advocated mental health projects.
Mm-hmm.
Ayan, sabi ko, you guys need my help, I'm there. So yun, it's very fulfilling in a way. Na
Yeah.
parang, okay, there's more to this pala. Yeah, it makes me happy. It makes me happy to help other people talaga.
Sounds great. By the way, I'm not gonna take much of your time, but can you invite the listeners here right now to come to some of your classes? Come to DefTalk if they want to try
Mm-hmm.
out mixed martial arts or they want to try out BJJ or Jiu Jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to mention it out.
Okay, so guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to Red Panda TV for doing this. Such an honor to be here. I love the time spent here. Tapos we're at a time which is, I mean, for me it's weird. Okay, it's so weird to stay at home for so long. Because I've always loved to go out. I mean, I love to train. I love to be with my students. I love to be with my teammates. I love to travel. So this is an adjustment for me. So when this is all over, you can definitely, and I encourage everyone to please try out any kind of martial arts that you've always tried out. Well, you've always wanted to try judo, you've always wanted to try tai chi, 'di ba? After this, go do it. 'Di ba? You don't have an excuse anymore, just do it. 'Di ba? If there's one thing that you learn from this experience is that there's no better time than now. And I highly encourage everyone to learn jiu-jitsu. It's a very fun sport. It's a very good exercise activity. Ang dami na pong pumayat sa jiu-jitsu. Maniwala po kayo sa akin. Hindi ko kayo binubola. And you can find me on Facebook. Just type in Coach Franco Rolyoda. All other social media outlets, Instagram, Twitter. It's just my name, Franco Rolloda, FrancoRulloda. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post a lot. I have my own podcast there, and then I do a lot of situational breakdowns,
Mm.
especially on things that's happening in Metro Manila. I got a few breakdown videos, and then I teach at DevTech Rockwell, DevTech Makati, and DevTech Better Living. So if you want to, when you decide to try out Jiu-Jitsu, check out those chapters.
Great, great. Coach Franco, let's talk after I wrap up the show.
For sure, man, for sure.
Thank you. Okay, for everyone else who would like to join, you can go to DevTech Makati, DevTech Rockwell, or DevTech Better Living to see for yourself what Jiu-Jitsu is all about. On Wednesday, we'll be discussing about the education system. What will be the next step for education when they start on August 24? Okay, everybody, thank you again very much for listening to Red Panda TV. This is Mike Yu signing off. Thank you.